everyone. Good evening and welcome to another webinar with Junior Achievement Nigeria, and this time with Aleph Group. So welcome everyone. Kindly tell me or let me know where you are tuned in from. Would like to know or to say hi to you. You can use the chat box because I understand that we're not able to speak at this time. So just use the chat box. Let me know where you're tuned in from. And also, if you're yet to tell people about the webinar and you very well know about it, please share with your contacts. Let them know that this webinar has started and they are set for an amazing time with Junior Achievement Nigeria and Aleph this evening. So we're waiting on people telling us where they are tuned in from. Very soon, we'll go over to a very interesting poll. It's just like an icebreaker that speaks to movies. So I know that our IT person is currently working on that. So once the poll pops up, kindly just choose your favorite movie from back in the days, and would have one person volunteer to just tell us why you chose that movie. Okay, yeah, the poll is up now. So the first movie is Akila and the Bee by Dong Achisin. Another one is one of the movies that just came out, A Tribe Called Judah by Fuke Akindele. Then another one is Overcomer by Alex Kendrick. Then we have Gifted, and I feel like for anybody who wants to impact teenagers and just want some level of inspiration for them, should go to this movie, The Ben Carson Story by Thomas Carter. So just feel free to pick any of the movies that you feel resonate with you or is like a favorite movie to you. Then you let us know why you picked that movie or the highest favorite movie. Somebody would volunteer to let us know about the movie. So I'll be waiting on the feedback. Thank you. I'm waiting. I'm waiting on us to actually pick our vote. Like pick it. Don't be scared. I know they are interesting movies. Just pick your. And for some reason, I've not seen any chat. Please let me know where you're tuning from or where you're watching from or where you're listening from, right? And let me say hi to you. I know we might have folks from outside Nigeria, so we want to say hi to everyone, right? So that we just sort of set an easy tone of the conversation before we kick off with why we are here, right? I'm looking forward to seeing chat. Mhm. We've only had one person or two people pick Akila and the Bee. Okay, that seems to be one of my favorite movies as well. Once again, if you are yet to let people know about this conversation, please send it to your contacts. Let them know that they are set for an amazing time. We're literally going to be learning how to become a pro seller on X, formerly Twitter. So I think the favorite movie is Akila and the Bee. Do we have somebody who wants to volunteer to speak to the movie? Please, you can raise your hands if you want to speak to the movie. Please can you confirm if you can hear me? If you can hear me, please kindly just put a thumbs up. Hi, Esther from Abuja. Okay.
Yes, we can hear you perfectly well.
All right, thank you so much. Akila and the Bee is currently winning, though. Then next to A Tribe Called Judah. I recently watched A Tribe Called Judah, and it's one of the most, I'd say the most emotional and family-centric movie I've watched. I think that Funke Akile poured her heart into it. And like she said, it was dedicated to her mom. I refuse to make a movie seem better than another. So I just want people to be objective about what you're picking. And so in the next 1 minute, the poll will stop so that we can move on to something else, right? So in the next 1 minute, the poll will be over. Uh, all right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Faith. So you can hand the poll and share the results. Okay, so very quickly, I'll be introducing Junior Achievement Nigeria, and then I'll allow Easy also introduce. Yeah, Faith, you can end the poll. I don't know if it's just me. I'm still seeing the poll, so you can end the poll. So very quickly, I'll be introducing Junior Achievement Nigeria, and then I'll allow Easy from Aleph also introduce Aleph, so that you get a vivid mental picture of why we are partnering together to give you this kind of initiative. My name is Goodness Godunusora, and I'm the Senior Marketing Officer of Junior Achievement Nigeria. So at Junior Achievement Nigeria, we are a non-governmental organization that is tailored towards impacting in young people between the ages of 5 to 35, right? So we have different programs across 4 core pillars: financial literacy, work readiness, entrepreneurship, and digital literacy that speaks to impacting young people. Right, so we have programs as far as 13 weeks. We have programs that are week long. We have programs that are self-paced, that is like the Google SAT program, right? And then we also have programs that are just short courses like webinar that we have today. Today we're going to be learning about the how to make money on X, right? So sometimes people say X is one of the most rigid platforms to make money on, right? But today you're going to be learning different strategies on how to make money. So I'll just pass it over to Izzy to tell us about Aleph Group, and then we kick off the conversation from there. Over to you, Izzy.
Good evening, everyone. Very nice of you to have joined the call today, especially on a holiday for those who are joining in from Nigeria. So just a few thoughts about who we are as Aleph. I mean, this session is not about Aleph really. It's about just, going straight into it. So who are we in a nutshell? We're a digital advertising agency group across more than 60 countries in different parts of the world. We're very excited about digital marketing, and we drive digital marketing inclusion by the work that we do in Africa, in developing markets, but also by the work that we do with our education program, which is called Digital Advertising Experts. This is a great opportunity for us because we're talking to people who are our people in a sense. Digital marketing is our DNA, is our lifeblood. And what we do with our education program fits right into that. Today's session is supposed to be, really, really interactive and really, really fun, because it's really an opportunity for us to share, best practices, amazing success stories about what we stand for as a business, but also about the opportunities that exist across the digital landscape. Just the opportunities to take businesses and brands and personalities and interests from ground zero to amazing impact and amazing reach globally, right? So it is the work that excites us, how we're able to democratize access. And when I say democratize, I mean bring access to digital platforms, digital skills, and digital opportunity to different people and different personalities, different nations around the world, and take people from being sort of not connected, right, to becoming digital natives themselves and being able to take advantage of the opportunities that are bound. I'll stop on that. And then as we go into the session and towards the end of the session as well, we'll share a bit more about what we do.
Thank you so much, Izzy. So I'm sure we've all heard from her as well. So very quickly, we'll move over to the conversation or the major food for the day. I mean, every other aspect is food, but this is why we are here, right? The conversation, and that would be taken by Olushola Kaka from Aleph. Over to you, Olushola.
Thank you so much, Goodness. Super excited to be here this evening. Good evening, everyone. For those joining in from this part of Nigeria, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. My name is Olushola, as Goodness has said, and I work as a client partner at X here at Aleph Group. So yeah, basically, I'm just here to share simply the power of X and how individuals and brands can leverage X, right, appropriately. Goodness already mentioned that there's a seeming mindset when it comes to X, and people think of it as a very rigid platform, right? But my guess is after this session, everybody's going to think differently. So I'm excited about that. So usually I like to always start with a question, right? And if you guys would indulge me, simply go to the chat section and tell me your most used social media app very quickly. Your top two. Okay, let's say top two. For those who are going to be confused, what's your most used social media app? Anybody? Okay, I'm trying to read the comments. I'm going to know those that I'm going to fight with. Yes, I can see Facebook and IG, Instagram, WhatsApp. Okay. 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 Nobody uses X. Wow. Okay. Anyone on this side of life? Toby Lover says X sometimes. Fred is X. I'm Xing you for that statement. WhatsApp and X. Okay. X. Ifeanyi Chukwu. That's the person. All right. Fantastic. WhatsApp. Okay, great. So first of all, the too much drama, I know, I understand. First off, there's no question to whether we should promote on digital or not, right? On social media. Nobody here says, oh, I don't use any social media app, right? Everybody uses. So the question is, how do we leverage each of these platforms, right, to get the best from each of them? And that's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about today, and specifically for X. So there's something I like to call platform use bias, right? And this simply means whatever platform you don't use, you don't necessarily see it as a viable platform for you to run your ads on, generally speaking. I've seen this, I've done this test severally, from agencies to client direct, brands, and all of that. There's just this sense of, I don't really use it, so I don't think anybody's there. And the irony is with X, right? X has such a unique platform with a very, very unique audience. No doubt there's some audience overlap, meaning that there are some X users on Instagram, on Facebook, on other social media platforms. However, you see that because of the way the platform is, right, the type of audience, the active audience, they are primarily there. You don't necessarily find them on other platforms. They probably just breeze in and breeze out, right? You can comment if I'm speaking the truth, right? And so brands and individuals need to take advantage of this unique audience, right? Every time when it comes to engaging them, pushing out their brands and products and services and everything that they do, it's important that they're active on there. It's not something to think about. It's not something to push for the future. It's something to do now, right? Now, I'm just going to dive in straight into the power of X and what the superpower of X is. Truth is, why would anybody use X in the first place? The answer to that question is what the superpower of X is. Now, if I were to ask everyone here, why do you use X? Or those that use X, why do you use X, right? One of the first things we probably say is, oh, I want to know what's happening, what's trending, right? So for not very frequent users of X, one of the first things they do whenever they go to X is that they check the trends table, right? They want to know what's happening. What are people talking about today? What brands are being dragged? What individuals are trending, right? What's happening in society, basically. And that exactly is the power of X. So when it comes to monetizing or taking advantage of X, that should be what is at the back of our minds. The fact that people come to X to engage, to talk, to have conversations. They want to know what's happening. They want to be part of the bands. They want to, speak intellectually, right? X users are very unique there. They like to call themselves intelligent folks, right? There's a joke that we make on the X side of things. We say the information breaks on X. 1 week after it goes to Instagram, and then Facebook gets it like 3 weeks later. I agree. I don't know when WhatsApp gets it, but yeah. So X is what's happening now, right? People come to X to know what's happening. What are people talking about today? And so anyone who wants to monetize or take advantage of the platform, the uniqueness of the platform, must have that in mind, right? Must be part of the conversations happening today. Now, two things that make X very unique. I already mentioned one, which is the fact that it is where conversations happen. It is what people are talking about now. We like to call X a global town square, where the public gathers to live its life in real time. This will mean that whether you are a football lover, whether you're a sport lover, or you have a favorite, you're just a movie person, or you are, wherever you fall in terms of interest, right? Everybody gathers to meet, right? And conversations around each of these interests happen at different times, and nobody is left out, right? That's one unique side of X. Another unique side of X is the ability to drive virality. I mean, if you're launching a new product, if you want to reintroduce a brand, or I'm going to give case studies later on as I speak. So you want to, introduce a new variant into the market. You want to, just reach more people, basically. The easiest and fastest way to drive virality will not be on any other platform. I don't like to call out other platforms right now. I only speak to X. The first place to think of is X, right? Because that is where you can drive virality, right? X has a very, very rich and young and affluent audience, of which 84% of those people fall between the ages of 18 and 34. So when you're thinking of reaching people, right, young and affluent audience, the first place to think of is definitely X, right? And it would amaze you the percentage of, especially because for people who don't necessarily use it, there's that myth that nobody uses X. X is not that important. But it will amaze you the number of active audience that use X every day here in Nigeria, right? And so speaking of the audience, right, X users are intellectuals, already mentioned. They want to band, they want to gist, they want to be part of the conversations, they want to know what's happening, they want to be part of the trend, right, basically. And so diving right into it, some of the key ways or strategies that I would recommend in taking advantage of a platform like X is the funnel approach. I like to call it funnel approach, right? So some people call it awareness, consideration, conversion. On the X side of things, we like to call it launch, connect, and drive to buy. And I often say every now and again, every part of this funnel is super important, right? If, as much as audience, brands or individuals want to focus on what the exact thing they are driving for at a particular time. So for instance, some brands want to drive for performance, right? They want people to purchase their products. They want people to download their app, right? And many times they get to skip the first two funnels and say, let's just go right into it, lower funnel, let's make this money. That's a huge mistake. Why? Because nobody buys what they don't know. I mean, even though that can be we can have exceptions, but primarily nobody buys what they don't know. If I don't know about your brand, I'm not going to purchase your product, right? So that's why every step of the funnel is important. And on X, right, you cannot skip any part of the funnel. So when you want to start advertising on X, right, you want to promote your products on X, you have to start from the beginning, which is launching, right? Let people know what you're doing, let people know what the things that your brand is about. What exactly are you bringing out? What's the value you're proposing to people, right? And once you move from that, you move to a very vital place. I'm going to sit here for a while, which is connect. I mentioned before, people come to X to know what's happening. They want to know what's going on today. What brands should we recommend? What brands are people recommending? What brands are people trolling? Yes, I'm going to mention the trolling part because I know that we're going to have a number of questions about X and trolling and brand safety and all of that. But yeah, that's why people come there. So if you are not connecting with your audience, if you're not talking and engaging with them, then it's just a waste of time, right? Because that's why they primarily come, right? I want to come to talk and be a part of the conversation, right? So how do you become a part of the conversation as a brand or as anyone promoting your brand? The first thing to do is ensure that you understand your audience. First of all, the X audience and the specific audience you're reaching on X, your brand is reaching on X, right? So for some people, they have, say, a particular age range that they're looking to target, right? They don't necessarily want to reach everybody on X. So say a diaper brand, for instance, that they say, okay, our target audience is women between ages 25 and 35, because there's an assumption that that's where most women have babies or toddlers that wear diapers, and you just want to target them, right? Truth is, the very intelligent and strategic way, to own the conversation, be part of the conversation and grab their attention is to jump on particular events or occasions. So for instance, a Mother's Day would be a great time for any brand, any diaper brand, to be loud. Of course, any brand can be part of any event and occasion depending on how they roll out their strategy. But for a brand like Morphix, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to call brands, but yeah, a particular occasion like Mother's Day is a fantastic time for them to be part of conversations. Put out a simple copy, talk about how mothers are strong and valuable and priceless and stuff like that, right? Fantastic time to talk, be part of the conversation because everybody's celebrating mothers at the time. Now you can say, oh, so when it's on Mother's Day, how can they be part of the conversations? The fantastic thing about X is that because it is so big on conversation, there are different ad formats, right, that brands can take advantage of, to push out their content at different times. So we have combo cards. I'm going to speak to that when I talk of specific case studies and things that we have run here in Nigeria. So another way to do this is events. So there are specific events that happen around the year, right? So there's football. So there's I'm struggling to remember events. There are particular times where specific TV shows, happen. So for instance, it's BB Nigeria. At all of these different times, right? Brands that want to be part of such conversation know that, oh, this conversation is relevant to me, or my target audience falls between, people that would enjoy this kind of event or this kind of shows. That's the time to talk. That's the time to be louder, right? That's the time to, throw in your combo cards and media polls, right? That's the time to hold more X spaces, right? Get people to talk, draw people in, because people really do want to talk, right? And another thing to do is jump on trends. Now, every time I speak on jumping on trends, I always have a lot of questions and say, what if we jump on a trend and it goes wrong? What if we get dragged for it? But the truth is that not all trends are supposed to be jumped on, actually, right? So depending on your brand structure, the way you communicate, the way you have positioned yourself in the market. So for instance, a brand that doesn't necessarily has like a formal way of communication, comes out randomly to throw out a meme in pidgin, right? It's off, right? There's a high possibility that X users will come for you, right? I say that with all sincerity. So it's important that even in rolling out strategy, you consider X users, how they think, right? What they most likely like, right? And also be careful. There's the part of being careful, right? So for instance, a paternity lab, right? It's a good time to run ads everywhere and say, come and check, because we all talk about DNA and check your child's DNA, it's your child, and all of that. That's a trending topic, right? So any intelligent paternity lab, right, would come out at this point, right? So there are two ways to it, and this also all boils down to strategy. So you either come with the funny, meme-like approach, or you come with the serious, more empathic approach and say, we know this is happening and we don't want this to continue, so come and run your test. All goes down to strategy and how you roll it out. And there's no reason to be scared, right? A lot of brands are thriving, right, on X, taking advantage of the power of X, and they're succeeding in it. So there's no need for any brand to say, oh, I don't want to be dragged. I don't want anybody to troll me. I don't want anybody to say this about my brand. So let's be careful. No. Just be, as much as you put caution, right, to it, you also need to launch out, because if you don't launch out, you never know, right? So yeah, I'll just speak to specific case studies very briefly. And one of which I would like to mention is Pepsodent. Now, every time you think of optimizing or media efficiency, right, on X, the very first thing that comes to mind is using the superpower of X, which I already mentioned, conversations, right? And this is one of the things that Pepsodent used. So last year in August 2023, Pepsodent had this campaign called Unlock Your Smile. And what they just wanted was for people to engage and talk, be part of the conversation. So what did they do? They took advantage of one of the ad formats called conversational cards, right? And then they put out 4 options. So this is how conversational cards work. You have a tweet, probably ask a question, and then give 4 options for people to choose from, right, their preference. And when anybody clicks on any of the hashtags, so there are 4 options, 4 different hashtags. Someone clicks on any of the hashtag, there's a pre-populated post that shows up on their timeline, right? And then goes back to, I can see that there are messages. Okay, I think, goodness, my head just caught my attention if there's anything I need to answer to. So yeah, like I was saying, anytime anyone clicks on any of the hashtag, a populated post appears on their own timeline, so it goes out to their audience. And this is what happened. This is what we saw. We saw that over, I think 6 million, I think it was 6 million people engaged with that particular combo card, right? In a space of, I think, 5 or 6 days now, right? And it just went everywhere on X. People were talking about it. So what was the question they asked? A very simple question. The question was, what quantity of toothpaste do you apply or do you put on your toothbrush, right? And the options were pea-size, half brush or full brush, and then people were picking their options. Now, the funny thing is that there's no right or wrong answer to that particular question, but then it sparked conversations. People began to talk about it, right? So under the thread, people were talking and saying, oh, I think it's pea-size, I think it's... Now, people were talking about Pepsodent. The hashtag was trending. Everyone was talking about it. They achieved their aim in terms of engagement. They also got feedback from people, right, to see what their mind was or what their mindset was as regards the brand and even the use of the brand generally, right? So it all boils down to understanding, right, how the platform works, how the audience work, and how you can key into the uniqueness of both the audience and the platform, right? Another case study will be that of LG. I found that super interesting. Now, with X, one of the very, very fantastic things about X is that you can drive how the conversation goes. It's such an amazing thing because knowing that as a brand, you can direct how the conversation goes, you can usually channel how people think or the direction with which they think is fantastic. So what LG did was last Valentine, which is February 2024, they put out a campaign called, I think, LG Do You Love or something like that, right? And then they said they did a carousel ad. We have something that we call a carousel ad on X where you can put up to 6 different slides of photos, right, with different URLs, each carousel having a unique URL. And they said, okay, so it's Valentine's, right? And everybody's talking about lovers. You want to buy something for your lovers, want to buy flowers and stuff. How about you buy your lover the LG something AC, right? And notice another thing they did, aside jumping on a particular occasion, which was Valentine's, they jumped on a particular season in Nigeria. So that period was extremely hot, and everybody was talking about how, oh, everywhere's hot. If you buy me AC now, I'm going to marry you, or I'm moving to your house or something, right? And they strategically used both the season or what was happening at the time in Nigeria, as well as the occasion, which is Valentine's, right? Merged it together and then pushed out their content. So they said, oh, don't buy her flowers, buy her LGAC, right? And then they said, oh, your mother's back deserves some rest, buy her a washing machine. She's your lover too, something like that. And then they did that in different styles. So what they did was they directed the conversation away from just, oh, love, Valentine's, love and lovers, right? Lovers and buying flowers for your lover. How about we extend it to everybody that we love, right? So if you're a single Pringle, how about you buy yourself a microwave, right? And then they just these very interesting captions and simple, photos to tell that story, right? That campaign got so many impressions. It was over, I think it was over like 19 million impressions in a space of just a couple of days, right? Because they were able to take advantage of that unique power of X, that the uniqueness of the platform as well as the audience, knowing that, okay, these people come here to talk, and this is Valentine's. All they will be talking about is love and lovers, right? The married ones will be dragging the single Pringles. So let's save them and jump on this trend, be part of this conversation and direct it, towards our brand, which works for them. Another one I think that's last I'll speak about is Showmax. I really love what Showmax did, right, in their relaunch. I'm sure that if I ask anyone here, there's nobody that has not seen a Showmax ad, whether it's offline or online, they're everywhere. And particularly, one of the things that they did on X that they took advantage of, which is another thing I want to speak to now, of the taper up approach. So many times we need to understand that whatever it is that we're trying to achieve as a brand, right? Whether you're trying to push out a brand or anything, whatever you're trying to achieve, you're speaking to an audience, right? Nobody wants to feel like all you want from me is to buy your product or use your service, right? People want to be treated as humans. The same way you will not, if you walk into a store physically, you will not expect, you expect that the attendant or receptionist will greet you first and say, "Oh, welcome, ma, welcome, sir. What you want? What would you like to purchase? Right? How are you today? Right?" That's the same way the online audience responds. Before you tell me, buy my product, right? Before you tell me, "Oh, my product is the best, buy it," you want to tell me, "Oh, give me a freebie," for instance. And freebie doesn't mean a free product, right? The use of your service for free. But tell me, say, for instance, for a oral health brand, you want to tell me that, "Oh, do you know that if you brush twice a day, you're going to reduce the possibilities of having cavities," right? Now, that's an information that's interesting. Like, okay, now I automatically tie that to your brand because you educated me, right? That's a taper up approach. You're following a particular sequence. And so for Showmax, what they did in their relaunch was they started with a teaser, right? Just putting out their logo, the brand logo everywhere, right, on X, and with normal image ads and stuff, something is coming, right? What that did, just like it's do for anyone, is stop people in their tracks and say, "What's happening? What is coming? Or what brand is this?" Imagine seeing a particular, and it kind of like mimics the X logo, by the way. So maybe that's why I got very attached to that kind of thing. Like, what is this? What are these guys doing? Is this X? People were guessing, oh, maybe this is it, maybe this is not it. People were just guessing different things. Conversations were already brewing, right? And then when they finally launched, right, they moved on to the next phase of launching. They took advantage of all the ad formats that would drive the best awareness for their brand. So they had what we call takeovers. So a takeover is an ad format where people get to see your ad as a first ad of the day, right? When they open their X app, right? They use that, used a lot of image and video ads, just interesting things, pushing it out. And then they moved to the next phase of sustenance. Now, this is where many brands make mistake. They launch, right? They drive awareness for their brand. They talk about their brand. Oh, this brand is here. This is what this brand can do. This brand is the best. We are giving the best service, or we're the best sliced bread, right? And all of that. And then they stop there, thinking that, okay, we'll just see what happens. No, that's not how it works on X. On this side of things, once you drive awareness, we advise 2-3 weeks awareness, you move on to the next phase, right? Where you engage, right? You engage them. So you want to hear from them. So you've spoken to them in awareness. You've told them what your brand can do. Now ask questions. Now talk to them. Now hear from them, right? Because like I said, X users are intellectuals. They want to talk. They want to banter. They want to be able to know that you guys really, really want to talk. You have the energy to, continue this conversation, right? So it's extremely important that we move through that taper approach, right? Not just use one and then skip another and all of that. Nah, that's not that strategy can never work on X, right? So that's something to note every time we run out on X, or we try to launch a campaign on X, right? And then very quickly, I'm just going to speak about brand safety. This is one of the questions that gets asked a lot, right? I know that I exceeded my time a bit, so I'm just going to round up here and hand it over to Isaiah. So when it comes to brand safety, the question of brand safety, people say, oh, X is not a safe place for brands. Brands are easily dragged. Brands are easily cancelled. One of the first things I say to that is X is X because of freedom of speech, right? Because people can come there and talk, and that is not going to change. However, what we have done on X is that we have ensured that even if there's freedom of speech, there is no freedom of speech. So if you say things that violate certain policies or incite violence, for instance, or things that violate law or just generally are known to be not good enough, right? There's a limit to those that will see it. So maybe you put out a post and say something about, or maybe what people consider hate speech, right? Nobody takes it down. Or maybe it's just you and your family members or people like you, people that say things like that, I get to see it, right? That's one of the cautions that X has put, right, in ensuring that brands are safe and able to promote their ads freely without the fear of, oh, what if my ad appears in between, the content that you don't like. Another thing that we've done is X has introduced what we call adjacency control. So adjacency control is, and I often like to say this, that rather than just assume that, oh, this X is not safe, let's just move, let's go to safer platforms, right? What people will call safer platforms. Truth is, if you have great knowledge, of which I'm assuming that we've gotten a bit of knowledge about X now. If you just have a bit more knowledge and get to delve into understanding the platform and how it works, and take advantage of all of the features of X, you'll be able to launch a fantastic campaign and get fantastic results, right? And I'm sure pretty much this is why we have the digital expert course, right? Digital ad expert course, because it's a way to help guys in this field to really, really see and understand each of these platforms and be able to take advantage of it, right? Properly, to be able to get the most benefits from it, right? So I think at this point, I'll just hand it over to Zen. If there are any questions, I'll take them. But yeah, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much, Elushola. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to put up a quick one-pager. I mean, I don't want to exceed any time at all on this session, but if anybody has any questions, I think this is a good time to begin to drop those questions in the chats such that we can take those questions right after I do a quick introduction of digital ad experts, and then we can close from there. So if you just give me a second, I will share my screen shortly. So, I mean, just like Olushola had shared, everything that we do as a business for corporate entities at a larger scale, we basically condensed into, a learning opportunity for anybody who wants some job readiness skills that prepares them to actually become digital advertisers, right? Digital sales experts across a number of important platforms, but also for anybody who just has a need to amplify something, sell something, make money for themselves out of a product or service that they currently sell online. And so we launched Digital Ad Expert a couple of years ago, and we've continued to improve the quality of the program. We've continued to improve the content that it covers. So just to give you a few quick facts about what we do with the program. What we do with the program is we give you a complete job readiness certification on one hand, which is called Digital Ad Expert Certificate, which is a 3-month certification program. But on the other hand, we also provide access to about 32 different standalone digital marketing courses. And when I say standalone digital marketing courses, I'm talking about courses that we have partnered with different platforms to provide. The word platform is a word that can be a bit ambiguous sometimes. So when I say platform, I simply mean any of these social media platforms that we've discussed in the conversation today with Olushola. So from Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, which is now Meta, all of these 5 platforms that Aleph has a partnership with, we've consolidated 32 different standalone courses that are available via the Aleph Learning Portal for anybody, meaning that you simply want to certify in a particular area, you want to pick up a skill in a particular area, as against taking the entire certification. You can simply go and pick up a skill that is specific to, say, for example, Twitter, or specific to TikTok, or specific to Meta, as the case may be. So we have those 2 broad offers that we bring to market, right? On the one hand, standalone courses, 32 of them. On the other hand, a complete digital marketing certification. What you're looking at on the screen right now is the content map for the complete certification. That complete certification is offered entirely remotely. We have 2 pathways to learn. One of them is a self-paced pathway, meaning that you can simply complete the certification at your own pace. We also have a cohort-based pathway, meaning that you can join a cohort, right? Almost like you're going to school, right? And you're starting a term. So you can join a cohort and complete the certification with that cohort over a 3-month period. None of these is superior to the other, but it just gives you opportunity and flexibility based on the kind of learner that you are. If you're a learner that can manage your own learning via the self-paced method, fantastic. If you're a learner who does better when you have a number of people doing stuff with you, coming together to do like case studies, being on a schedule with a group of people, being able to get into webinars with a group of people, that's what helps you to learn better, then you have the cloud-based opportunity. Everything is delivered entirely remotely, and we basically admit on a rolling basis. Now, in terms of the specs of the certification itself, just like I said, this is the content map covering about 10 different areas. So when I say it's a complete digital advertising certification, I mean it's a complete digital advertising certification, right? So you start out with like global context of digital advertising, then you go into the core of digital marketing, audience management and segmentation, brand personality, landing pages. Then you go on the other hand to number 6, where you have introduction to social media. And this covers, like I said, about 5 to 6 different platforms: Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Meta, and Google, right? And then you have performance again on those platforms. Then you have, module 8, which covers digital advertising on those platforms. You have data analysis, and then you have professional development. And with professional development, what we do is it's just not enough to give you like the technical capacity to go out there and sell on any of these platforms, right? But we also help you with like job readiness skills in terms of CV preparation, interview preparation. And then you join a community of learners that we push opportunities to, when those opportunities come. Essentially, this is the umbrella cover of what we offer with our education programming. I'll just drop a link in the chat box for anybody who's interested in exploring the website. And that would be all for me, from me, for as far as covering DAE is concerned. These sessions that we're going to run over the next 3 weeks are really an opportunity for you to get a sense of what's doable, right? What opportunities exist on these platforms. I mean, it's easy to get saturated sometimes and take for granted the opportunities that still exist on the digital platforms and digital environment, right? It's easy to get jaded and forget that this happens, and that every day individuals as well as entities are able to actually make significant value for themselves leveraging some of these platforms. And that's why we thought to put these together. I'm just pulling up the website link to put in the chat box. I know that was a bit of a rush through introduction. I'm actually aiming for us to be done with this call latest by 8 p.m. So I'll just hand it over to Goodness. I think that is all from my end. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Izzy, and thank you, Olushola. So for me, I've learned a lot, the different phases as it pertains to selling on X, from the launching phase to connecting to ensure you sustain your audience, right? And I believe that these are learnings that I'll make use of, especially for newcomers like us on X, right? Okay, so very quickly, I'll go back to the question and answer session. I have a question, but then I would like for us to take the ones that are on the chat box. So I'll start with that of Tobiloba. Yeah, so she said,
Okay, I don't know if that is my network or Goodness's network.
network is frozen, so you can go ahead, Shola. Thank you.
Fantastic. So the question says, have you had a failed ad experience or an ad that didn't do so well? How did you handle it? Okay, so first of all, let me say that I am an expert, meaning that I cannot have a failed ad. But I mean, generally speaking, the thing with ads, running ads on a platform like X is that there's a lot of testing and learning, right, as you go. For me, I mean, because I'm very, very familiar with the platform and how it works, so long as my clients go through my advice and what I tell them to do, there's no such thing as failure. It's just success all the way. I don't have failed cases, I have success stories. So yeah, but for a first timer, someone who is learning, I just advise that everything that has been said here, go through the digital ad expert course as well. It would give you specific things that you need to do and can take advantage of, to just know what to do better, what not to do, right? You find you make mistakes, some ads will run well, some won't, but I mean, we're learning and growing, so yeah. So for the next question, it says, is there a way to get a particular demography on X for a brand and target such? Yes, 100%. So if I don't know if you're, I don't know if you're, sorry, Justina says, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Apologies, I went straight to the question. So Justina, I don't know if you're familiar with X or if have ever seen the dashboard, but if you have, you would notice that there's a place where you can put in keywords, handles, hashtags. You can specify your audience, you can specify their gender, their age range. There's so many things you can narrow down, right? And once you do that, it gives you the estimated number of people you're going to reach once you target those people. So yes, X has a very, very fantastic targeting system when it comes to running ads. So yeah, that answers the question.
All right, thank you, Alicia. Yeah, thank you. Please, can you confirm you can hear me? Okay, great. So I think we have another question from Eunice Ayobami. She says, thank you, Alicia, for those insightful points. Are there major pointers to determine whether an ad will perform well on Twitter or not?
Well, there are, I think some of the things I shared today are the general rules, right? But the general rules of running ads on any platform still applies, right? So determining your target audience, determine what you want to achieve, first of all. So if you want to drive awareness, right, you not use a a conversion ad format or conversion specific ad format. You use awareness ad format. So there are a couple of pointers. There are general rules, like I said, understand the platform, understand the audience, how they react to certain things, right? Also, your brand, what does your brand stand for? What position how are you positioning your brand generally, and stick with that. Stick with a particular voice as well. This is so important on X because all of these things predispose people to rejecting your brand and your ad generally. So I think some of the things I mentioned earlier are like the major pointers and things I mentioned now. I mean, if you do all of these things, mentioned also as well, is testing and learning too. But yeah, that's where digital ad expert comes in. Take the course and you know the rest. We can't give you all the gist. Also, There's another question that says, can someone who is new to X run an ad? Yes, you can run an ad on X, even if you're new. Except there's something particular you're asking, maybe like a new handle. I don't know if that's what you're asking, or like someone who is just using X for the first time. I don't know what your question is, but if it's both ways, yes, you can. There's no restriction on that. So yeah, thank you, goodness. Are there any other questions? Anything?
Okay, yeah, thank you so much, Olushola. So another question, this question is from me, and the question is, does it mean that a brand needs to be controversial before they can thrive on X? Because I know that you mentioned that X users are intellectual, so it means that you sort of have to have that level of energy for you to have that, for you to stay and stay properly on X. So does it mean you have to be controversial as a brand to actually sell properly on X?
All right. So conversations, when we talk about conversations and controversy, those are two different things, right? And X users love to be part of conversations. They like to talk. Now, controversy can be part of conversations, but conversations are not always controversial, right? So there are certain brands that thrive with banters, like they reply to every single reply under them. They have that energy, they do it, and it's working for them, right? The other brands that, they're more conservative, so for instance, a certain family budget. I give 3 examples: LG, Showmax, Pepsodent. None of these brands used anything controversial. Simple things. Pepsodent asked the question and said, what quantity of toothpaste did you use on your toothbrush, right? So nothing controversial. That's simple. But then people engage because they want to talk. They want to be part of the conversation. So no, you do not have to be controversial. Some brands are daring. Some brands, it's part of their core value, right? And they can explore that. Good for them. But if you are more of the, laid back, I don't want to be out there, I don't want to be dragged, conservative, of course, you can still be part of the conversation. And that's why I mentioned that X specifically has certain art formats that help to drive conversations in easy ways, things that will not drive controversy, just simple things, major polls, for instance, convo cards, all of these things help to drive conversations without any controversy. So yeah. I hope that answers your
Thank
question.
you so much, Sarah. Yes, it does. It really does. So we'll take one more question and then we call it a very good day. The next question is, what would you recommend for extrant brand? A, conversation card, B, paid ad, C, influencer.
All right, there's so many factors to consider, right? What you're looking to achieve, what your strategy is. Different brands have different strategies when it comes to launching or coming into the market. So what's your strategy? What are you looking to achieve, right? What's your budget as well? That's so important, right? For a brand that doesn't have so much budget, there's some things you can't take advantage of, right? So, by the way, conversational card is a paid ad format. It's an ad format, so it's paid, right? So I think A and B should just come as paid ad. So it would just boil down to what you're okay. So you said visibility, awareness, right? I mean, like I said, depending on your strategy, depending on your budget, um, of course, it's always easy to start with, and the type of brand, right, that it is. But I would always advise to start with paid ads, right? You can't go wrong. You can test how people respond from promoting your images, your videos, just throwing out things here and there, you're telling. And as things progress, you can know when to, try out influencer marketing, or, use influencers to, trend things, or try out other things that work. So it will depend on your strategy, your budget, what you're looking to achieve overall. So yes, I hope that answers your question. Just saying now.
Okay, thank you so much, Olushola, and I'm thankful for all. We're thankful for all the insightful knowledge that you've already shared with us. Okay, we're thankful for all the insightful knowledge that you've already shared with us, right? And I just want to let everybody know that there's more coming. It's actually in 3 series, we would have more conversation that deals with us having to sell properly on different social media platforms. We have that of Facebook coming that will be taken by, I think, Emeka. Then we also have another one that will be taking how to sell properly on TikTok, right? So please don't miss out this same time on the 17th, and then upper week as well on the 24th. So please pay attention to the notifications that will be going out from Junior Achievement Nigeria, right? And also turn on your notification just so you don't miss out on the different information that we'll be sharing with you. Thank you so much, Olushola. Thank you, Izzy. So now I'll be handing over to Tobiloba Olaosun, the Marketing and Communication Manager of Junior Achievement Nigeria, for the closing remark. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the call. Thank you, Olushola. This has been very insightful. I definitely know that everyone has benefited something tangible from this session, and I know that there is more to come. And like Izzy has said, there is so much you can benefit from the Digital Skills Masterclass. You should just leverage that already. The link is on the chat box. And if you're yet to get that, Izzy, you could also help share it again, just for the benefit of those who just joined. Please make the most of this. I mean, if we are moving to the future of work, you are also expected to move in that tide. And that means that you are future ready. That means that you are leveraging all the technological skills and then the tools available to you to get better, to earn more. I mean, we know how Nigerian currency keep dwindling here and there. You want to explore other opportunities to earn more, even as you have your 9 to 5 or other work that you're doing on the side. So thank you so much, Olushola. Thank you everyone for joining. We look forward to connecting with you next week as we have the next session. And trust me, you will definitely get the most out of this if you are also practicing it as you're learning. And if you have questions, please feel free to send us a DM, reach out to us across our social media platforms at Junior Achievement Nigeria, and we would definitely make the most of that interaction with you. So I would call it a night right now from wherever we're joining. I know some people are joining outside of Nigeria, so at any time you are, I hope that you have a great day and look forward to catching up with you next week. Thank you, everyone, and have a good one. Bye.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much.
And yes, the recording will be shared. We'll upload that on our YouTube so you can have access to it. I've seen a couple of persons ask for the recording as well. You get that. And yeah, you'll be able to watch it all over again if you need that information. Thank you.